Scholars, let's talk about the topic of functions a little bit. Function is a rule. In this case, and we can use any variable or any letter, but here we are stuck with f of x. So the function f of x is 7x minus 5. So when the input is blank, how much is the output? How much is the y? F of x is always y. So what do I have? We need to evaluate the function when x, the input equals 0. This is 0 times 7 times input minus 5. When the input is 0, 7 times 0, 0 minus 5, negative 5. And that's it. In this case, we may conclude that when the input is 0, comma, the output is negative 5. When 0 is part of the domain, negative 5 is part of the range, the output. We repeat the same process, nothing is different. We always follow the rule. In this case, the function is 7 times the input minus 5. 7 times the input minus 5. The next example, my input is negative 1. 7 times negative 1, negative 7 minus 5, negative 12. So we may conclude that when the input is negative 1, the output is negative 12. Now we can do the same thing when the input is 2. 14 minus 5, that would be 9. So 2,9. They ask us here to find f of a. We don't use the coordinates, but still the same process. 7 times minus 5, there's nothing much to do here. When the input is a, the function will be 7a minus 5. And that would be it. The next part, it says, okay, the f of a, take the opposite of f of a. Well, we just found the f of a, so we have to find the opposite of whatever we got before, which is 7a minus 5. That would be opposite of 7, negative 7a, opposite of negative 5, plus 5. And when we have f of x plus x plus 8, nothing different, the same thing. The function is 7 times the input minus 5. So we may input now x plus 8, and we proceed accordingly. 7 times x, 7x, 7 times 5, 5, 6, minus 5, the final answer will be 7x plus 51, and we leave it there. Okay, hope this helps. Well, let's try another one, might as well. What about if we find f of x equals the square root of x plus, just look at the plus 7. No big deal. In this case would be f of 0. Let's say plus 9. Doesn't matter. F of negative 1. F of 2. Let's start with these 3 first. So it will be the square root of 0 plus 9, which is 9. The square root of 9 will be, of course, 3. This is the square root of 9, which is 3. We input the negative 1, same thing. Negative 1 plus 9, that will be the square root of 8, which is 2 radical 2. F of 2, 2 plus 9, that will be, you simply plug in 2, and 2 plus 9 is 11. And we leave it like that. 11 is a prime number. And f of a, opposite of f of a, f of a will be a plus 9. There's nothing much to do here. And it will be the opposite of a plus 9. If I were to do f of x plus 8, that will be the square root of the input plus 9. What is the input? X plus 8. So what do we end up with? The square root of x plus 17, and we are done. Thank you. Let's continue the discussions of evaluating functions. Sometimes we'll see this one, the typical given a function, either evaluate f of the input or solve the equation like this. So folks, bottom line in this one, we have two variables, the input and the output. What we want to know here is when the input is 2, how much is the output? That means evaluating, look for the output for the y. Here, knowing that the output equals to 2, how much is x? How much is the input? So of course, f of x, so the first one we need to find f of 2, which is 2 times input minus 1. When the input is 2, 2 times 2, 4 minus 1, that will be 3. Therefore, when the input is 2, comma, the output is 3. The point 2, comma 3 will be part of the graph. Part B, they say solve for. So this is 1. Part B will be solve the following equation, f of x equals 2. We don't plug in the 2. What do? We take the function that is 2x minus 1, and we equal it to 2, and we solve accordingly. We may add the 1. 2 plus 1 equals 3. We may divide by 2. Therefore, x equals 3/2. So what can we conclude? That in order to, if we were to input 3/2, the output will be 2. When the output is 2, the input is 3/2. Let's try something similar. Now I have g of m equals m minus 4. First, we want to find g of 5. So we are evaluating the function when the input is 5. So we're looking for g of 5 equals g minus 4. When my input equals 5, how much is the output? Well, last time we checked, obviously, 5 minus 4 is 1, and the square root of 1 is 1. Therefore, when the input is 5, comma, the output is 1. Or we are solving g of m equals 5. So for what value of m, for values of m, the function x squared of m minus 4 equals 5. In the section 2.5, 2.6, we may square both sides, so m minus 4 equals 25. And now we add the 4. We square left, we square to the right, and then we add the 4, so m equals 29. Therefore, when the input is 29, the output will be 5. Let me take advantage of this one. This one is kind of short, easy to explain. I don't have much space. So what we did actually, folks, is for the first part, we input the 5. So when the input x equals 5, the output is 1. When the input is 5, the output will be 5. This is why the point 5, comma 1 is part of the graph. For the second part, what we did was we identified the output to be 5. So when the output equals 5, we way out here, this is of course not a scale, what is the value of x? And of course, we found that the x was 29. And so for the first part is when the input is 5, how much is the output? Which we found, of course, that the output was 1. And when the output, what number x will give us an output of 5? So when the output is 5, we look at the value of x here, the intersection, and the x will be 29. One more example, given the function f of x equals x squared minus 3x, find f of 4 and solve f of x equals 4. For our part A, we're looking for f of 4, which is the input square minus 3 times the input. In this case, we're looking for f of 4. Let's double check. 4 times 4 is 16 minus 12. Oh, answer is 4. Oh, wait. Okay, so 4, comma 4. This was kind of a stupid example. Okay. So now the second part will be equal to 4. So we are solving for x when f of x equals 4. So what is f of x? X squared minus 3x equals 4. Okay, so how do I solve this quadratic equation? We can subtract the 4, and we may attempt to factor this guy. So factors of -4, that gives me -3, 4. So many numbers that I use. So it'll be -4 times 1 equals 0. So when x minus 4 equals 0, x equals 4, which we knew from before. When x plus 1 equals 0, x equals -1. Okay, so therefore, let me write it here. We found two numbers that the output is 4 for this function. So in order to achieve 4 as an output, the input must be 4 and -1. Those two numbers will give me an output of 4. Graphically speaking, folks, if I have a way to, let's say this is the function f of x equals x squared minus 3x. And when is this function equals to 4? Well, I just have to identify the line y equals 4, which is a horizontal. And this function will be equals to 4 at this point here, which of course corresponds to -1. And this point here, which of course corresponds to 4. Okay, so when it's equals to 4, -1 and 4. And f of 4 just happen the same number. When the input is 4, the output is also 4. Thank you.